Welcome, gents. Silence is not empty, it's full of answers. There's something mysterious about the way Sigma males walk away. No arguments, no explanations, no warnings, just quiet distance. One moment they're present, calm and engaged, and the next, they're gone as if they were never there. To the outside world, it may look cold or confusing, but to them, it's an act of self-preservation. Sigma males don't leave because they want to hurt anyone. They leave because they've seen enough. They notice patterns long before anyone else does, and once they realize a situation no longer adds value to their peace or growth, they choose silence over confrontation. They believe energy speaks louder than words, and when that energy turns toxic or draining, they retreat into their solitude, the one place they can breathe and reset. Their disappearance is never impulsive. It's the result of deep reflection and emotional clarity. They don't believe in explaining their reasons to those who never listened while they were still around. Instead, they let their absence become the explanation, and once they decide to go, they rarely return. Not out of pride, but because they know that going back to what broke them only repeats the same story. Understanding why Sigma males disappear without explanation isn't about judging them. It's about recognizing the quiet strength behind their choices. Their silence isn't rejection, it's revelation. It's their way of saying, "I've seen enough, and peace means more." Let's get started, gents. Number 1. They move like ghosts once trust is broken. You won't hear a sound, no heated argument, no emotional breakdown, just quiet distance that feels louder than any words could. When a Sigma male feels betrayed, it doesn't matter how small or unintentional the act might seem. To him, trust isn't something flexible that can stretch and bend. It's sacred, and once it cracks, it loses its shape forever. Sigma males value honesty more than affection. You could be close to them, share laughter, memories, and plans for the future. But if they sense deceit, even a hint of manipulation, they quietly start pulling away. Not out of anger, but out of deep disappointment. They don't explode or demand explanations because they already understand something most people don't. Once someone shows you they can betray your trust, that possibility will always exist. For them, staying after betrayal feels like agreeing to be hurt again. So they choose disappearance. It's not about punishment. It's about protection. They guard their inner world like a fortress. And when someone breaks through it dishonestly, that person loses the privilege of access forever. Think of it this way. Imagine a man lending his favorite book to someone who promises to return it. But instead, they tear a few pages and hand it back like nothing happened. Even if he forgives them, he'll never lend that book again. That's exactly how Sigma males view trust. Their silence after betrayal is not coldness, it's wisdom. It's a decision to stop explaining themselves to people who already showed they don't value truth. While others might seek closure through confrontation, Sigma males find it through distance. They would rather walk away alone than stay connected to dishonesty. And once they vanish, they don't look back, because ghosts don't return to the place where they lost their peace. Number 2, they leave when peace becomes impossible. That's the quiet truth about Sigma males. They don't need a dramatic exit or a final argument to prove a point. When the air becomes too noisy with tension, drama, or emotional games, they simply fade away. To them, peace is not just a preference, it's a form of survival. A Sigma male can handle challenges, pressure, even confrontation, but what he cannot live with is constant chaos. If every day starts to feel like a battlefield of emotions, if every conversation turns into a competition, he begins to lose interest. He values mental stillness more than the illusion of connection. And when that stillness disappears, so does he. They don't stay to fix what people keep breaking. They don't try to explain why they're tired. They've learned that some environments thrive on confusion, and trying to bring peace there is like pouring water into a bottomless pit. Instead of wasting his breath, a Sigma male will quietly retreat to rebuild himself somewhere else. For example, imagine a man who comes home every day to constant arguments and unnecessary tension. He starts staying late at work, not because he loves his job, but because it's the only place he feels calm. Over time, that distance grows until one day he simply doesn't come back. That's not abandonment, it's self-preservation. When peace becomes impossible, Sigma males don't negotiate for it. They withdraw from whatever or whoever is disrupting it. They understand that true peace isn't something others can give. It's something you create by choosing where you stand and what you tolerate. Their silence after leaving isn't cold or cruel, it's clarity. It's the realization that protecting your peace is worth more than explaining your pain. And when a Sigma male walks away, he isn't running from conflict. He's walking toward calm, choosing a life where his spirit can finally breathe again. Number 3, they value energy over explanations. That's what makes Sigma males different. They don't believe in long emotional speeches or dramatic goodbyes. When something stops feeling right, they pull back quietly. To them, explaining why they're leaving drains the same energy they're trying to save. They see no reason to pour words into people who are never really listening in the first place. Sigma males understand that true understanding doesn't need translation. If someone genuinely knows your heart, they can sense when you're hurting, tired, or withdrawing. And if they don't, no amount of explaining will fix that disconnect. So rather than repeat themselves or justify their decisions, Sigma males let silence do the talking. Their absence becomes the answer. It's not arrogance, it's awareness. They've learned that energy is life's most valuable currency. Every thought, every word, every moment spent on someone drains or strengthens that energy. So when they realize a relationship or environment constantly takes without giving back, they choose to protect their peace instead of wasting time defending their exit. Think of it this way. Imagine a man trying to keep a candle burning in the wind. No matter how carefully he shields it, the flame keeps flickering out. After a while, he stops fighting the wind and simply takes the candle somewhere calmer. That's how Sigma males treat their energy. They don't keep explaining why they're tired of holding what keeps blowing out. They just move. They also know that when you start explaining yourself too much, you start begging to be understood. And Sigma males never beg for understanding. They believe people who truly value them will notice the shift without needing a speech. So when they go quiet, it isn't confusion, it's protection. Their silence is not an escape, it's a boundary. It's their way of saying, my energy is sacred and I won't waste it proving my worth. Number 4, they understand that closure is self-created. That's one of the quiet truths that separate Sigma males from most people. They don't wait for apologies that may never come, or explanations that often create more confusion than comfort. When they decide to end something, they do it in their mind first, long before their feet walk away. Their silence is the full stop at the end of a story they've already finished reading. For Sigma males, closure is not about conversations or emotional goodbyes. It's about acceptance. They accept that not every wrong will be made right and not every question will be answered. Waiting for someone else to bring peace is like waiting for rain in the desert. It might never come. So they create peace for themselves by choosing to let go, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Imagine a man who spent months trying to understand why someone suddenly changed. At first, he replays every moment, every word, trying to find a reason. But one day, he realizes he's only draining his own energy. So he stops searching and decides to move on. That quiet decision, that moment of mental release, is what closure truly is. Sigma males don't chase after explanations because they've learned that most people's reasons come from fear or guilt, not honesty. And they don't believe peace should depend on someone else's confession. So instead of demanding closure, they create it by forgiving themselves for caring too much, by learning what the experience taught them, and by walking forward without resentment. Their silence after walking away is not emptiness, it's strength. It's the mark of someone who has chosen peace over answers. They don't need to hear "I'm sorry" to move on. They don't need to understand why to heal. They simply accept what is and write the next chapter in quiet confidence, knowing that true closure begins within, not from someone else's mouth. Number 5. They leave when words lose meaning. That's one of the quietest yet most powerful things about Sigma males. They can listen, they can reason, and they can communicate clearly, but once they sense that words are no longer being used to build understanding, they start to withdraw. When a conversation becomes more about control than clarity, they simply stop engaging. To them, talking without honesty is like pouring water into a cracked glass. It looks full for a moment, but it never holds. Sigma males pay attention to what people do, not what they say. They've learned through experience that some people use words like smoke to hide what's really going on. When someone says "I'll change" but repeats the same actions, a Sigma male doesn't argue. He observes, and once he realizes the words no longer match the behavior, he quietly distances himself. Imagine a friend who keeps apologizing for the same thing but never changes. The first time, the Sigma male will listen. The second time, he'll watch. The third time, he'll leave. Not because he's cruel, but because he refuses to keep participating in cycles of empty communication. To Sigma males, words are sacred. They carry energy, intent, and truth. So when communication turns into manipulation, when people start saying things just to win arguments or play victim, he stops talking. Not out of pride, but because continuing the conversation would only feed the illusion that something meaningful is happening. Their silence in such moments isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's their way of saying, "I see through the noise." They believe real conversations should lead to clarity, not confusion. So when words lose their weight, they stop giving theirs away. Instead of debating lies, they choose distance. And once they walk away, they don't return to the same discussion because they already understood what the other person was trying so hard to hide. Number 6, they believe distance reveals truth. That's one of the most powerful philosophies Sigma males live by. To them, distance isn't punishment, it's revelation. When they step back, they're not being cold or detached, they're watching. They want to see what remains when their presence is no longer taken for granted. Because real connections don't fade with absence, they grow stronger through it. A Sigma male often uses silence and distance as quiet truth-tellers. If he stops reaching out and everything stays the same, that tells him all he needs to know. He doesn't need confrontation or long talks about loyalty. He believes that if his presence truly mattered, it would be noticed when it's gone. Imagine a man who's always there for his friends, checking in, showing up, offering support. Then one day he decides to pull back just to see who checks on him. Days turn into weeks, and nobody notices his silence. That moment of realization hits harder than any argument could. It confirms what his intuition already whispered. He was giving more than he was receiving. Sigma males are not fans of forced bonds. They understand that distance has a way of cleaning out illusions. It reveals who values you for you, and who values you only for what you give. They prefer to observe from afar and let truth show itself naturally. No chasing, no begging, no emotional scenes, just patience and clarity. To them, distance is a mirror. It shows what words can't. It strips away pretense and exposes priorities. If someone still reaches out, still cares, still notices the silence, that's genuine connection. But if life goes on as if they never existed, that tells them exactly where they stand. So when Sigma males step away, it's not because they've stopped caring. It's because they want to see who truly does. And once distance gives them the truth, they don't need explanations. The silence already spoke. Number 7. They don't owe explanations to those who ignored their presence. Sigma males understand a truth that many people struggle to accept. You can't force others to value what they've already started overlooking. When someone takes their presence for granted, they don't argue or demand attention. They simply disappear. Not out of spite, but as a way of restoring balance. Their silence becomes the echo of everything that was once ignored. Sigma males give quietly. They listen, support, and show up without needing praise or spotlight. But when that effort becomes invisible, when people start assuming they'll always be there no matter how they're treated, something inside them begins to shift. They stop talking. They stop explaining. They stop trying to prove their worth. Imagine a friend who always checks on you, remembers your small victories, and stays by your side during tough times. Then one day, he stops calling. At first, you don't notice. Weeks later, you realize how quiet it's been. That's the moment Sigma males create. They don't lecture you about neglect. They let absence do what words couldn't. To them, explanation is pointless when someone wasn't listening while they were present. They believe attention is earned through awareness, not reminders. So when people only start caring after they're gone, it only confirms what they already knew. Their presence was taken for granted. Sigma males don't leave to prove a point. They leave to protect their energy. They know that those who truly valued them would never need an explanation for their silence. They'd already understand it. So instead of giving long speeches about how they feel, they choose distance. And that distance speaks louder than any words could. It's not revenge, it's clarity. Because once a Sigma male realizes he's been invisible in someone else's world, he makes himself truly invisible and never returns. Number 8. They act from clarity, not confusion. That's what makes Sigma males so different. When they walk away, it's not out of anger, impulse, or emotional exhaustion. It's because they've already done the hard work of thinking things through. They've replayed every moment, weighed every emotion, and reached a decision that feels calm and final. Their silence isn't hesitation, it's conviction. Sigma males are not the type to react in the heat of the moment. They believe emotional decisions often lead to regret, so they prefer to step back, observe, and process things privately. They think deeply before making a move, and once their mind is made up, they don't look back. That's why when they finally walk away, there's no second guessing, no hidden doubts, no dramatic farewell, just quiet certainty. Imagine someone in a relationship that has slowly drained them. They don't storm out after a single argument. They stay, observe the patterns, and ask themselves tough questions. Can this still grow? Is this still healthy? Am I still myself here? Once the answers become clear, they don't announce their decision. They just go, knowing they've already said everything that needed to be said through their actions. For Sigma males, clarity is power. They don't seek approval or understanding because they're not trying to convince anyone. They're trying to protect their peace. They believe the right decision doesn't need to be justified. It simply needs to be lived. Their calm exit often confuses people who expect drama or explanations, but that's because few understand what true clarity looks like. It's not loud, it's not emotional. It's stillness with direction. Sigma males move with that stillness, and when they choose to leave, it's never because they don't know what they want. It's because they finally do. Number 9, they see no need to punish. For Sigma males, disappearing is never about revenge. It's not a game or a way to make someone feel guilty. It's a choice rooted in self-preservation. They understand that holding on to frustration, anger, or disappointment only weighs them down. Walking away quietly is their way of releasing that weight, not throwing it back at someone else. Sigma males don't believe in proving a point through pain or regret. They've seen how people can twist lessons into excuses, and they've learned that trying to punish someone rarely changes anything. Instead of staying to argue, manipulate, or make someone realize their mistake, they remove themselves entirely. Their absence becomes the only message they need, clear and unarguable. Think of a man who has been consistently let down by a colleague or friend. He could spend weeks confronting them, explaining how hurt he feels, and waiting for them to acknowledge their behavior. But he knows that effort might accomplish nothing, so he chooses to step away. He doesn't hope they'll regret it. He doesn't wait for apologies. He simply stops participating in what drains him. For Sigma males, release is more important than punishment. They understand that peace is gained when they stop carrying unnecessary weight. Leaving is a gift to themselves, not a punishment for others. It's a way to reclaim energy and focus on what actually matters. Their silence and absence are powerful because they are rooted in clarity, not emotion. They don't linger to watch others squirm or reflect on mistakes. They leave because they value their own well-being above teaching lessons that may never be learned. And that makes them quietly unstoppable. Number 10, they've learned that words don't change behavior. Sigma males understand something most people ignore. Talking doesn't always fix things. You can explain your boundaries, voice your frustrations, or warn someone 100 times, but if they are unwilling to listen, nothing changes. Experience has taught them that words alone are powerless when actions don't follow. That's why Sigma males enforce their boundaries in the only way that truly works, through absence. They don't shout, argue, or beg. They simply step back and let their silence speak for them. Their departure is a clear message that isn't up for debate. It says everything words could never convey. This is my limit, and I will not cross it for anyone who refuses to respect it. Imagine a man in a friendship where promises are always broken. He might calmly explain his expectations, remind them what matters, and even offer chances to change. But when the same patterns repeat, he doesn't argue again. He quietly walks away. That absence is stronger than any conversation because it directly impacts the other person. It shows that consequences exist when respect is ignored. For Sigma males, actions are truth. Words are just noise. They value consistency over explanations. They've seen that people often hear but don't act, and they refuse to keep giving their energy to cycles that lead nowhere. Silence and distance are their tools for maintaining dignity and self-respect. Their disappearance is not about revenge or punishment. It's about enforcing a truth that words alone cannot. When a Sigma male leaves, it is because he has already done all the talking he can. What remains is action, the ultimate teacher. And through this quiet but firm method, he protects his peace while making it unmistakably clear where he stands. Number 11, they disappear because they respect themselves. For Sigma males, walking away is not about hurting anyone or proving a point. It's about honoring their own boundaries and refusing to compromise their peace. They understand that staying in a situation that drains them or diminishes their value is a form of self-betrayal, and they will not allow that to happen. Self-respect, to a Sigma male, is quiet but absolute. They don't make a scene or dramatize their exit. They don't leave behind angry words or lectures. They simply remove themselves because they know that staying would cost more than it's worth. Walking away is not an act of defeat. It's an act of preservation. Imagine a man in a relationship where his needs are constantly ignored. He might try to communicate, to compromise, to find balance, but after a while he realizes that no matter what he does, he is always giving more than he receives. In that moment, he doesn't argue or beg. He simply steps away, calmly and deliberately, protecting his own value. That choice is not easy, but it is necessary. Sigma males also understand that staying to fix what cannot be fixed only leads to resentment, frustration, and loss of self. Their exit is not punishment for others, it is a declaration of their own worth. They don't need to destroy anyone or make anyone feel small to assert themselves. Their respect for themselves is enough to guide every action, and their silence carries more weight than words ever could. Disappearing without drama is their ultimate statement. It tells the world that they value themselves above chaos, peace above argument, and clarity above confusion. They don't need applause or recognition for walking away. Their self-respect is their reward, and it ensures that they never lose sight of who they are, no matter the circumstances. In final words, some people are meant to teach lessons, not stay forever. Sigma males are not mysterious by accident. Their disappearances, their quiet withdrawals, are reflections of their principles, their clarity, and their unwavering respect for themselves. They don't leave out of anger, revenge, or confusion. They leave because they have already weighed the situation, processed the emotions, and recognized that staying would cost them more than they are willing to give. Their silence is not emptiness, it is wisdom. Their absence not punishment, but a statement of self-respect. They walk away when words lose meaning, when trust is broken, and when peace becomes impossible. They don't argue, plead, or explain, because they know that true understanding cannot be forced. They value energy over explanations, recognizing that maintaining clarity and calm requires protecting themselves first. Distance reveals truth, absence tests loyalty, and their departure quietly highlights what was taken for granted. Sigma males do not compete for attention, and they do not chase validation. Their choices are deliberate, not impulsive, and when they leave, it is final. They have already created their own closure, and once a chapter ends, they do not return. Their exits teach lessons without a single word, showing that respect, honesty, and authenticity are not optional but essential in any connection they hold. Understanding why Sigma males disappear without explanation is not about trying to convince them to stay or make sense of their silence. It is about recognizing the depth of their self-awareness, the weight they place on personal boundaries, and the quiet strength it takes to choose peace over attachment. They leave so they can protect themselves, grow, and continue their journey on their own terms. And in that departure, they reveal a truth few fully grasp. Some people are irreplaceable, and some decisions are final because they come from a place of profound clarity. Thank you for watching, gents, and God bless you.